What's going on, everyone? Maurice here, and this is GitVlog episode 6. And whoa, these glasses are very dirty. As you know, the whole point of this vlog is for me to kind of track my journey, share the lessons that I learned in my quest of getting my shit together. And one of the things that I'm a big believer of is learning from other people, people who already do have their shit together in certain areas of life. So I've decided to start kind of a micro series within this vlog called Discourse, where I just kind of treat somebody who I believe has their shit together in certain aspects of their lives and basically take them to lunch and get to learn some of the things that they believe have helped them accomplish some level of get-togetherness. And so for the first installment of Discourse, I was able to get together with my friend Andrew Peak at a midtown Toronto restaurant called Grazie. It's a Yonge and Eglinton for the locals out there. And I was able to pick his brain about how he's been able to get some of his shit together in a few aspects of his life. And this being the very first experiment of Discourse, I was really blown away by how much valuable information that I was able to walk away with, and I hope that you guys will be able to kind of glean some value as well. Just a little bit of background about Andrew. I'm going to have some links below in the description, but including his TED Talk, his TEDx Toronto talk that he recently gave, his Twitter, that kind of a thing. Definitely somebody who has a tremendous amount of experience and just super intelligent. He really is a brain. And I think you guys will be able to get as much value as I did. All right, here we go. First installment, Discourse, and this is GitVlog episode 6. By the way, you're the first person that I've done this with, so...
Oh, really? Is that true? All right, amazing. I love being the guinea pig.
Great.
Let's do it.
May I please request the magic dip? Thank you.
I actually knew you were going to ask that.
I've become more and more interested in just getting my shit together in general.
Okay.
Right. And so I just identified 5 areas: health, money, relationships, gratification, and society at contribution to society. Yeah.
That does look magical. I think we focus more on the areas where we don't have our shit together. So when you ask me about, any of these 5 areas, immediately the ones that come to my mind are the ones that I don't necessarily have together, as opposed to the ones that I do. On the health front, 3 years ago when we sold Jack Hooper to Shopify, I had spent the prior 3 years pretty much negating my health. And so it really went down the drain. I added a lot of weight. I was very out of shape. And, there was obviously a financial windfall from selling the company. And so I took my immediate first investment was in my health, and upped my yoga, started doing personal training with a friend of mine. And just now, I just try to do one active thing every day for an hour. The missing link is still the nutritional side for me. I don't eat terribly, but I eat out 3 meals a day. And that will take its toll on you, no matter how clean you think you're eating. I've always been really good with money. Even before the event that was selling the company. In my family, we grew up sort of like lower middle class. And then, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had sort of 2 moderate successes, 2 moderate failures. The 5th one was a catastrophe. His partners kind of screwed him out of the business, changed the trajectory of my family quite a bit. We had to sell the house, move cities, da-da-da-da. So I'm very aware always around the risks that I'm taking and who I'm relying on for those risks. And then my mom, on the flip side, was a very detail-oriented person. So when my dad had his sort of downturn, she stepped back into the workforce, and she was sort of slow and steady, increment upward, worked at IBM, became a director over 10 years' time, etc. So anyway, what has manifested in me as a result of that dynamic, I take a lot of risks. I would say my risk profile is towards the top end, if you look at how I allocate any of my resources. But I have, since the day I graduated university, tracked every single penny that's gone out the door. I can tell you this month what I've spent on coffee. I can tell you what I've spent on alcohol. I can tell you what I've spent on physical activity, mental health, any category you name.
Now, do you use, by the way, Spendly or something like that, or you just...
No, I actually have just built an incredibly robust spreadsheet, and it didn't start robust, just I added to it over the years, all these other modules and whatnot.
So is it an exercise, every day when you get home?
I do 2 simple things. I take the receipt when I leave, Or if I don't have a receipt, like I make a note on a yellow notepad. And then when I get home, it takes me literally 2 minutes to drop things in. And, you know, I break my budget into the categories. Like, I think how I spend my money is a reflection of the person I want to be, which is why when I say like I've broken alcohol out into its own category, it's because I just want to decrease the amount of spend that goes into that, right? So anyway, I'm very good at budgeting, which means that I can take big risks, and now I can model out the downside if things go sour, and things can always go sour. But I'm always comfortable in the event that the bottom falls out. Like I've already mapped out what it would feel like if the bottom fell out.
Got it.
Right? So it's like, okay.
So you mapped out what it would feel like.
Yeah, like prior to selling Jack Cooper and Pilot, you know, I was looking at a scenario where I was going to be 60K. I mean, I'd already blown through my entire nest egg of, like, I had 80 when I started the company, down to 0, 60K into debt. Like, there was a very real scenario that I was going to be 30 years old, having spent my entire savings and having to pay back a significant amount of debt. I was comfortable with that. But you got to make peace with it before it happens, right?
Because all I really know of you is in the context of the startup realm or the tech realm or the entrepreneurial realm, or that sort of thing. So what I'm really interested in is what are not key milestones in terms of, like, you know, getting a raise or promotion or whatever it be, but key attitudes or actions that you can attribute to. I think you have a rough idea of what I'm trying to.
I think so.
Right? Yeah. So
key attitudes is, I think, a good access to look at it. I think my first key attitude would come around age 12, 13. I recognized that I needed new socks and underwear. Mine were getting holes. Told my parents that, and they replied with, "Great, go get a job." So, key attitude number 1 was like, you need something, you have to go figure out a way to do it. And I think that was important. Another key shift in attitude, I think, would have been, you know, I went to University of Toronto. They had a co-op business program there. It was really hard to get into, and, you know, once you're in, you don't screw that up, right? I did my first term at Microsoft, so in terms of my enjoyment. I did my second term at Rogers, and I was being stifled. I was getting the work done that was part of my job description in maybe 40% of the time, and, you know, wanting to do more, wanting to try new things, just wasn't being given that opportunity. So midway through that co-op term, I made a big decision. I decided to quit co-op completely, which meant not just the job, but you're out of the program. At the time, some partners and I had started an oversized beanbag company, and we were doing some strategy and ops consulting to small businesses. So I just doubled down on sort of my entrepreneurial activity and decided that I was learning way more through that than I was through this job.
Here's filming.
Yeah, but
yes,
please.
come on in.
Yeah, if you can just be careful not to.
Yeah, geez.
I'll tell you a bit more about it in a sec.
I don't know if you need the
Two
pepper.
spoonfuls. No, I'm okay personally for pepper.
I guess the things I'm maybe conveying, if I had to zoom out a little bit, I realized that working hard and resourcefulness were not a function of intelligence. But I did realize that, like, if you had an appetite for risk, but also a self-awareness around what the possible outcomes were, and you could make peace with that coupled with resourcefulness, and you're not really. My theory is that anybody who works hard with their eyes open, given enough time, will find some success. Which means, like, if you're a baseball player and you're in the batting cage every day and you're watching film and you're doing all these things, it is inevitable that you will find your way towards a single, a double, a triple, a home run.
Got it.
Right? It's like if you lay back and just sort of rely on your natural talent or a sense of entitlement, then it may not come.
Right. That enough time, which is kind of like in Lean Coffee, that coining the term runway, right? Like
that's it. So, like, how do you manage your personal runway, and how do you manage the size of risks you're taking? You know, back in the day, I would make $1,000 bets on business ideas, and $1,000 is a lot of money to save up back in the day. Mm-hmm. And then it was, you know, $5,000, and now when I experiment with something, it's like $25,000. But it's always managed. It's always tempered. It's like, I'm going to try this out, see what's there. I'm comfortable if it all goes to 0. Those are the big attitudinal shifts, and
it's not really the story, but more so realizing, with at least the bulk of the people who are around my life, where the concept of being in consumer debt has been normalized, and that's so scary to me.
Yeah,
right. And
that is scary to me, actually.
I was 24, 25 when I hit my personal rock bottom in terms of finances.
Yeah.
And it was just shocking that in 18, 19 months I was debt free with that commitment, right?
Yeah.
But
It's amazing. When you put the focus on it, when you actually stare at it, you get mega creative really quickly.
a part of it also has to do, in my opinion, with not being not looking money in the eye, because that's what I did for years when I was in debt.
Right.
I'd receive bills and they would go directly into a drawer, out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so,
Money's a very taboo topic.
yeah.
And it's not just taboo between people. We ourselves are afraid to look at our relationship to money. The things I think that are always worth paying attention to the most are the things we do daily. Right? So it's like eating. I struggle with that one, but we do it daily. We spend money daily.
Right.
And so paying attention to how you spend money is integral. Maintaining a budget down to the dollar has been more important than just how to like reflect on life and the priorities of your life. It's just become, in a weird way, it's changed my relationship to money completely. Where like you don't chase after it, you don't hoard it. Everything has its place, and so once you've created a place for something, you're quite content using it for the thing that you've decided to use it for, right?
Yes.
If you have
allotted, right? Like,
if you have a fail bucket and then you spend your fail bucket, you don't care. Just like if you have a vacation budget and then you spend your vacation budget, you don't care, right? So I don't know. I was doing it before we sold the company, and I've been doing it since we sold the company, and I don't know. I think it's like the best practice I've done. Yeah.
Do you have a system for time management, or do you feel that you're in a significant amount of a good rhythm?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's funny you should ask. I just established that in 2016, but it is easily the most optimal setup I've ever gone through. So I get up, usually about 6 o'clock, and I'm at a desk by 7 a.m., and I don't book any meetings till 11 a.m. I don't even look at social media. I try not to do anything other than the major tasks that are on my plate. Not the minor stuff, but like the big rocks. So 7 to 11 are the most energized time. It's the most energized time of my day. So I just plow that energy into the stuff that needs the biggest push. I schedule all my meetings in the afternoon, generally speaking. I usually go for a walk sometime around the lunch hour. And so my afternoons are generally just that. Like generally, like my energy goes down a notch. So I engage with people because through conversation we kind of get energized again, right? So I make a point to schedule meetings for the afternoon. Working out has been the hardest thing to add to my life. I schedule that generally between the hours of 4 and 6. And then my evenings are decompression. Like I might do a little bit of knock some email out of the way before the tomorrow, but generally my evenings are with my girlfriend. So my calendar has become a source of my get-it-togetherness as well. I realize that protecting time is fucking hard. Like it's really hard. Like the number of times I've had people, important meetings, try to schedule themselves in my 4 to 6 time frame, for example. And you want to say yes because you know that's an important meeting, but that's my time for health, right? So it's like you just got to protect it like religion.
is there a suggestion you would give to young people specific regards to school and then initial career steps? Or not really?
I mean, I guess the slight shift I would recommend is don't focus on what you don't have, because there's a million things you don't have, right? Like I don't have an engineering degree, I don't have a comp sci degree, I don't have whatever, I don't have an MBA. You can always play that game, and that might be okay if like you were pursuing a million options, but the truth is you're only ever pursuing one option at a time. And so in your pursuit of that thing, which you've decided that you love and are interested in, look at what you need that might be roadblocking you.
Got it.
As opposed to like all the things you don't have, right? Because if you pick an interest or a passion area that, a certificate program of 6 months is sufficient or no degree at all is sufficient, that's very different than a situation where somebody goes, oh, I'd like to be a doctor and I need 8 years of school. So it's like, it just gets a lot less overwhelming when you think about it through the lens of what is it I exactly need to push this thing forward? And sometimes the answer really is nothing. Like I just need, to break into tech, for example. I did no tech curriculum in university. Upon graduating, all I did was read article on article, business case on business case, into the depths of the Internet archives until I ramped up my knowledge base that I was capable as a technology consultant for a series of brands.
Well, yeah. I think we're...
Okay, brother.
Thank you, man.
My pleasure. Thank you for lunch. That was amazing.
Of course. Yeah,
Delicious.
Awesome. All right.
Cool. All right.
This D mic.
Hopefully that came out okay.